This is one of the oldest cat breeds in the world. For 400 years, it was admired for exactly what it was. Then, in the 20th century, humans began changing its face. Today, the cat we call the Persian is not quite the cat that first arrived in Europe. Part 1. Arrival. No one knows exactly where the Persian began. The name suggests Persia, modern-day Iran. But the truth is less certain. Kurdistan, the Iranian Plateau, Central Asia, all have been proposed. What seems clear is that by the early 1600s, long-haired cats from the east were reaching Europe. In 1620, the Italian traveler Pietro della Valle described silky gray cats he encountered in Khorasan. Cats unlike anything seen in European homes. Around the same time, white long-haired cats arrived in France from Damascus. They were not the same animal. Different coats, different regions, but Europe treated them as one. Long-haired, exotic, desirable. Over time, they were bred together until the original distinctions no longer existed. By the mid-1800s, these cats had spread across England and the continent. They eclipsed the native short-haired cats almost immediately. Not because they were better hunters, because they were beautiful. And in Victorian England, beauty carried weight. Part 2. The Rise. In 1871, Harrison Weir organized the first official cat show at London's Crystal Palace. The Persian was among the stars. Weir tried to distinguish it from the Angora. Larger head, longer tail, thicker coat. Whether the difference was real mattered less than the fact that the breed now had a name: the Persian. Queen Victoria herself kept blue Persians, and soon the breed became a symbol of refinement and status across Europe. In 1889, Weir published the first breed standard. By the early 1900s, Persians had crossed the Atlantic and found devoted breeders in the United States. The breed's future seemed secure. Part 3. The Face. For most of its history, the Persian had a proportionate face. Round, certainly, but recognizably feline. A visible nose, an open expression. That changed in the 1950s. Breeders in the United States began noticing a dramatic flattening in some red tabby Persians. The look was so extreme, it earned a nickname: the peak-faced Persian, after the Pekingese dog. At first it was registered as a separate variety, but the numbers were small, and the health problems severe. The type faded. The idea did not. Breeders had seen the flattened face, and many preferred it, so they began selecting for it. Flatter faces, shorter noses, generation after generation. By the 1970s and 1980s, the transformation was unmistakable. Noses migrated upward between the eyes. Muzzles shortened. The expression that had defined the breed for centuries was gone. Part 4. The Cost. What was gained in appearance was lost in function. Modern flat-faced Persians often struggle with problems their ancestors never had. Narrowed airways that make breathing difficult. Tear ducts that no longer drain properly. Teeth crowded into a jaw too small to hold them. Even grooming, one of the most basic feline instincts, can become difficult. These are not rare complications. They are consequences of the structure itself. Part 5. Two Persians. Today, two versions of the breed effectively exist. The modern show Persian, flat-faced, highly exaggerated, and the traditional Persian, sometimes called the doll face, a visible nose, a proportionate skull. Ironically, the traditional type closely resembles the cat that first made the breed famous, the one Victorian breeders admired, the one that arrived in Europe 4 centuries ago. Yet in many show rings today, it is that face, the original face, that no longer fits the standard. The Persian is one of the most recognizable cats in the world, one of the oldest, one of the most loved, and one of the most reshaped. A breed that traveled from the East to the courts of Europe, only to be transformed not by nature, but by human preference. The cat that arrived is not the cat that remains. If you live with a Persian, we'd be curious to know, which face does yours carry? Let us know in the comments.